I think lately I've just been feeling like, Chid, you haven't been showing up the way that you see other people show up for themselves and they are proud. Like especially when it comes to your business and your creative venture, have you really given this all you got? And I feel like the answer to that is no, I haven't. I was so deeply, deeply disappointed and hurt by this person because you know all that I've gone through the past year. We've had conversations. So why would you think that coming to me and saying, as a goodwill gesture, I'm going to give you $500? Why did you think that that was going to fly with me? What made you think that that was okay? I was so disappointed. I was so hurt. So now I know it in my bones that disappointment really is just inevitable. It's going to be a part of my adulthood from here on out. This will happen again. I will be disappointed again, and I will have to figure out the path forward. I don't want to say that disappointment is necessary, right? Because that sounds insane. It sounds crazy to say, like disappointment is necessary, but it is inevitable. So if we know that we will be disappointed at some point in our adulthood, at some point in life, how do we cushion it so that it doesn't alter our being? I'm still disappointed, but I know that I will get through this and this too shall pass. I think the hardest part about the feeling of disappointment, at least to me, okay, is just how it can literally stop you right in your track. Like, whoa, sis, hold it right there. Okay, stop right there. Because you make the plan, you imagine the outcome, you tell yourself, if I do this thing, this other thing is going to happen. Even if this doesn't happen, at least this other one will happen. You come up with a couple of scenarios, contingency plans, and then something that you just did not plan for happened. Something you did not foresee, you didn't calculate, you were solving for X, and now you're found Y and Z, okay? And I have just been sitting in such deep feelings of disappointment lately, from just the personal level about some things that I feel like I could have done better recently, on an interpersonal level, especially just with individuals that I have previously worked with in the creative industry. And then just on a life level, feeling like you keep trying and strategizing and doing things, and the things that you want just aren't happening. And so today, it's a solo episode. It's just me and you. So lady, listen, grab a drink, grab a water, grab your notebook, your iPad, and we're going to get into these feelings of disappointment that I've been feeling a lot lately. I just want to talk about it, reflect on it, and see a couple of things that I think I'm kind of learning and picking up as I'm going through this current season of my life. So, as always, you already know you are welcome to But What Do I Know, a space for honest conversations, lived experiences, and growth in real time. I am Chidinma, and I am so glad that you have come across this conversation today. Before we go any further, let me just say what this conversation will not be is here are several steps to overcome the feeling of disappointment. This ain't that, okay? This is not that at all, because I was just disappointed by someone last week. I'm still grieving that. I was just disappointed by an outcome a month ago. I'm still getting over that. So this is not that at all. But what this conversation will be is, if I'm being honest, a bit of a venting session about all the different feelings that I am feeling, along with disappointment right now, annoyance, frustration, anger, all of the feelings. I will be reflecting on, how it's showing up in different aspects of my life, and then talking about some things that I do feel are the lessons that I can take away to apply the next time that I am feeling disappointed. I want to start off with, just at a high level, the feeling of disappointment, okay? And I think that disappointment is such a layered feeling. Like, if we start off with disappointment, you go one layer, you're annoyed. You go another layer, you're angry. You go another layer, you have grievance. You go another layer, you're sad. Like, there are just so many sub feelings that make up the feeling of being disappointed, right? And I think another word that I'm starting to sort of attach to disappointment, which I never thought I would, is disoriented. And I use that word specifically because that's how I'm feeling right now. Like, I feel like it has knocked me off my path and I'm having to reorient myself. Like, where am I? What am I doing? Where was I again? Like, okay, where do I go from here? And then did I miss something last time? I don't want to miss something again. And if I try this, what if it doesn't work out and I'm disappointed again? Like, those are all sort of the feelings. And it's very disoriented, and I'm having to sort of reorient and work my way back on the path that, I was on, or a new one that I'm sort of carving out for myself, right? So, I will say on a personal level, I'm feeling these feelings of disappointment and annoyance towards myself, and I'm going to give myself grace as I talk about this, but I think lately I've just been feeling like, Chid, you haven't been showing up the way that you see other people show up for themselves and they are proud. Like, especially when it comes to your business and your creative venture, have you really given this all you got? And I feel like the answer to that is no, I haven't. And I don't know. I've been sitting down with this and I've just been thinking, like, what more could I have done over the past few years? Like, if we look at just my journey of the What Do I Know and the platform, I started off, it was a little bit of like just a fun vibe game to me in a way. And then it got to a point where I was like, okay, now it's time to take this a little bit more seriously. You love this, but you need to be able to sustain this and you want to grow this. Okay, cool. And it just felt like, okay, 2024, okay, it wasn't quite the year for that. Had other goals. I met other goals. 2025, okay, we're going to focus on the podcast now. And then you're met with a layoff. And then after that, it's like, okay, now you're in survival mode. Now you're being forced to survive. So your creativity is shut off. Right. And I give myself so much grace for that. But then there's a part of me that sits back and wonders, like, okay, yeah, you were laid off, but should it have stopped everything? Was there something else that you could have done to still keep your creative, your creative dreams alive? Like, I completely kind of just, I kept putting up audio episodes. I kept releasing audio episodes, but I completely pulled back from YouTube, right? And now a year later, when we're taking YouTube seriously, now of course they want to double the requirements and make it difficult for us. Yay. Right? But it's like, could I have done something else? Even when I look back at the catalog and the episodes that we released last year, I'm happy. Those are good conversations, but I felt like, and I know that those are not my best and I could have been better, right? So I don't know. I sit with that feeling like, could I have done more? How could I have done more if I didn't do more? If that wasn't my best, what could I have done differently? How could I have shown up for myself, to be able to kind of sit now and say, I am proud. And I think part of that is I hope I'm not comparing myself to other creators. I probably am comparing myself, but I just think it's a mixture of I'm inspired seeing other people do more with less. And I'm inspired seeing other creators just really like go all out and push through and do things. And so for me, it's a little bit of a disappointment, like, okay, you just could have really done some things. But at the same time, I give myself such grace because I know how hard last year was for me and the things that I had to navigate. And I don't know how I could have been creative going through those things. Like, I really don't know how I could have done it. Hey, God, I beg. I don't know how I could have done it. So that is something that I'm still working through. And I think added to that is maybe this feeling of, am I behind in my creative journey? I'm trying not to attribute this to the fact that I'm turning 30 next year, but it's like, you had certain things you wanted to do. You've been such a planner. Why aren't you executing? But I am good at executing, right? I just haven't been able to. And I think the reason I say I give myself grace for this is because to achieve the things that I've wanted to achieve, or to do the things I've wanted to do, to execute the way I want to execute, it has required more than just me. And now I think I'm finally at a place where I can do the things and show up for myself and my creative venture the way that I want to show up. But yeah, I think, yeah, that's some feelings that I've been sitting in and sitting with these past few months. Like, Chid, if you had done this 3 years ago, do you know what you could be doing now? You could be touring, you could be doing this. And then, I could also be wrong. Like this could just all be in my head, So that's on a personal level is what I'm sort of wrestling with. And I think while I am disappointed in myself in that regard, I'm still proud of myself. I still give myself grace. I know how hard I've had to push. And I love the fact that regardless of that, I have still been pushing and I've still been showing up, right? So I'm grateful for that. I'm honestly grateful even for the strength to keep pushing because it hasn't been easy, okay? It hasn't been easy. But I will say, zooming out on a more like interpersonal level, I have been truly disappointed with some of the people that I've had to work with in the creative industry. I think I'm a very open person. When I'm working with people, I approach it in a fair manner. I want people to get paid. I want it to be collaborative. And especially being a creative, like I really want to just work with people who understand my vision. We're creating things together, we're getting paid, and we're growing together, right? But I have learned, especially as a Black woman navigating the creative industry and navigating the podcasting industry specifically, that other people do not feel that. They do not have those same values. They don't care. And it has been very, very, my spirit is vexed. Like it's been very tough navigating that. And now I'm very, very, very picky about the people that I work with, the networks I work with, even moving forward, God willing, the brands that sponsor this podcast that we work with. Because, weeks ago, I posted a reel on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And if you're not following us, make sure you follow us. It's at BWDIK Podcast. BWDIK stands for But What Do I Know? So it's at BWDIK Podcast, okay, across all platforms. And I posted that our current season of the podcast is 2026 season. We almost didn't make it here, okay, because of just a bunch of different life things that I will get into in a future episode. But one thing that I spoke about, and that is that I had a falling out with my previous podcast editor. And I'm laughing about it now, but that shit was not funny. It gave me such anxiety because I was also navigating other things and other feelings while I was trying to deal with that too. And on top of the falling out with my editor, it just felt like I was working with people who just did not move with the same vim for this project that I was moving with. Like, when you care about a project more than the people around you that are supposedly supporting you and working on it with you. And it's a very like infuriating feeling. And you're just disappointed because at the very beginning of the project, it felt like we were all on the same page, running the same race, ready, set, we're finna go. And now you're relaxing. I'm getting things late from you. And I should add, it wasn't everybody. I have worked with and are working with some amazing creatives and creative professionals and vendors to put and produce this show together for y'all. So they're like, we'll never, never, never underestimate or understate that. That is incredible. But I felt like there were a few people and things just kept falling behind and falling behind. And our May release turned into a July release, which is perfectly fine. Like if things take time, that's the lesson that I've learned is I'm disappointed, but things took time. But when it takes time because it feels like people just are not moving with the same vim or people are just not, for lack of a better word, kind of taking you for granted and taking advantage of you a little bit. That is a whole completely different thing. And that I'm pissed at. I'm sorry. That is just something that I won't forget. I won't forget. And it was specifically with that editor situation. So I had, been recommended this person, right? They're great editor, also Black, so I wanted to support the community, right? And I had reached out, said, okay, someone recommended you. We'd love to work with you on the podcast. And we talked. The vibe was great. Was really happy to work with this person. Like, honestly, I was really looking forward to it. And so we signed a retainer where they would be my editor and I would be working with them for about a period of a year, right? And as part of that, I got a deal where if I paid for 2 months upfront or at that time, shortly after we signed the contract, then I would get 1 month free. So I was like, okay, this is a great deal. And the person was really understanding at the time of the fact that I am a small creator. I'm a creative in Toronto. We don't have a lot of grants and funding that is easily accessible or accessible to small to mid-sized podcasters, especially. Like they were just really understanding of a lot of things. And so it felt great to move on with this person, right? To start. So I signed, I paid him 2 months up front. You will hear the figure in a little bit. Okay. And we pay. And then that was in like November of last year. And then January comes. And at this point, this is where things start to overlap. The personal life, the professional life, things are now overlapping, right? So I tell this editor, hey, can we press pause because I need to just sort out some things in my personal life. What was I sorting out? Remember the tenant situation that I talked about in our 9 lessons from 29? I was sorting that out in January. So I was then working on getting that tenant out, getting a new one in. That required my money, my time, my energy. Okay. So this person told me they understood. It was all cool. Okay. Now that's January, that's February, March. We do the shoot for the new season. We're ready. And by April, we're recording new episodes. We're meeting new guests. We're talking. We're starting to produce. We're planning. Like things are now in full gear by April. So I record the first episode. I record the first couple actually. And I give the first episode to the editor to start editing for me, right? And then shortly after that, they tell me, hey, I just got a new job, but my job will not interfere. I promise I'll still be able to do both things. I say, cool, no problem. If there's ever an issue, let me know. Cool. 1 week goes by, 2 weeks go by. I finally get a draft. Then more weeks go by and it's taken like forever to edit one podcast episode, the first one. I start getting nervous because we're getting closer to our release date, getting closer and closer and closer. And now I express it to this editor and I say, hey, what's going on? Like, it's taking a little bit too long to edit one episode. What is going on? And they tell me, oh, it always takes longer to edit the first one. We're trying to get your vision correctly. And then from here, it'll be really easy to just handle things and to take things from here. And I was like, okay, no, honestly, you're absolutely right. Like, it does take time to get the first one done, but I still think it's taken too long. I've gone as far as now even storyboarding every scene that I want in the intro. I'm editing things. I'm editing things for you. I'm leaving detailed notes. Like what's actually going on? And I just felt this weird feeling like, yo, this person is definitely going to go there. It's given they're going to cancel on me. So we had this exchange maybe like on a Monday. On a Thursday when things were still taking long, I expressed this feeling again. By like the Saturday, I get a long message in the podcast Slack. Just, oh, Chid, I can no longer commit to this. When I signed up for this, I didn't have a job and things change and you deserve an editor that can really give you the energy you need. You're such a talented podcaster. You deserve someone that can push your vision and woo, 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 and blah, 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 all that shit, right? And then the part that really got me, hey, and you're very lucky I don't live in Nigeria because I would have sent boys to your house. I promise you. Hey, the person now says, and as a goodwill gesture, I'm going to give you $500. $500. Kilo day. $500 of the $2,300 that I paid you for 2 months. That was supposed to give me 6 episodes. You're giving me $500 back. Oh, okay, well, this ain't gonna work. Like, that's not what? $500. And if I'm so tempted to post images of this, but I won't. Let's move intact. I won't. But I specifically said $500 is what you're recommending that you want to offer me after the money I gave you. And so this is where I'm my mother's child and I'm petty. And I will do my best to one up you, bitch. So don't try me. Like, don't try me. And whew. So I noticed a person started giving me, Chat GPT legal language, started using particular things. And I was like, oh, so you want to use Chat GPT? I'm going to get an actual lawyer. I'm going to get an actual legal representative. And this is where, listen, I know we feel how we feel about Jay-Z, hyper-capitalist. I get it. But when that man said, I have lawyers like snipers, I felt that this year because I too had to get lawyers like snipers. For the tenant, I had legal rep. For this situation, I called a legal rep. And I did it partly, not because, I'm so rich, so wealthy, I have lawyers and retainers. I don't. Let's just make that clear. But I did it because you should know that you can't take my kindness for weakness. And you should know that at any moment I can turn up on you and I have it in me. So don't play with me at all. And so just to kind of wrap up the story, we ended up sending a demand letter for the amount that I was owed. And I should also add, this person never really gave me a completed episode. The file that they gave me at the end, couldn't open it. My new editor didn't have a software that was compatible, so we had to end up starting everything from scratch. So I had zero walking out of that contractual agreement, if you will. Okay? Zero. Walked away with no assets, no edits, no video, no nothing. Nothing was completed. And so we sent a demand letter, and I'm sure that they were a little bit surprised. But yeah, I'm the one. You actually met the wrong one or the right one, however you look at it. And we went back and forth. They increased the number. It still wasn't what I wanted, but I took it because right now I don't like I have the time, but I don't have the energy or the money to drag this through small claims court for that amount, right? And I was so deeply, deeply disappointed and hurt by this person because you know all that I've gone through the past year. We've had conversations. So why would you think that coming to me and saying as a goodwill gesture, I'm going to give you $500? Why did you think that that was going to fly with me? What made you think that that was okay? I was so disappointed. I was so hurt. And I think what hurts overall when you have these professional relationships that go really sour, especially in the creative industry, is that you want so badly to believe that creatives get it. You want so badly to believe that creatives, especially creatives that also work a 9 to 5 or have navigated corporate and have transitioned into the creative space, you want so badly to believe that they understand what it's like to go through harm, to not show up as their full authentic selves, to be taken for idiot sometimes. So you want to trust that, okay, this is gonna be a fair exchange, we're gonna do good business, we're gonna create some great work, and we're both gonna grow, and we're both gonna elevate each other's portfolios and platforms. No, some people don't feel that weight. Some people don't have those same values. They will mess around, make mistakes, and put it on you. And that's what I learned. And as I'm disappointed in the person, if you come across this video, I want you to know that I'm very disappointed in you. I will never recommend you. I have the receipts, and you're lucky that I'm not even saying your first and last name in this video. I'm very close to saying it, but I won't because, again, tact, right? But that has been a very big lesson for me to learn. And moving forward, I am going to be so careful with the people that I choose to work with. It is going to have to be a very strict vetting process over here. I'm very sorry. It's going to be very, very, very strict to get into this space, especially for what do I know? Because what I'm building is very important to me. It's important to my listeners. And I don't need anybody coming in that doesn't have the same intention, passion, and care for this project. So that was another hard lesson to learn, but I'm making my way through that one too. There's been a lot this past year or two. It's been a lot. And I think if I take it even higher, one more level, if I zoom out even more on a collective level, I'm just so disappointed that this is the life that I'm navigating as I'm about to turn 30. Like, guys, please, can we be so fucking for real? Like, this is it? This is the life that we were promised? Oh my God, I kind of want to just press a button and start over. Can I please just, let's take it back. Let's take it back. Please, because I just can't believe it. I think that especially when I just look around, myself, my people, everybody is literally hustling for daily bread. We're not even hustling to be millionaires. We're hustling for daily bread. And things are barely moving, barely shaking. like, and I told my friend, I was on the phone yesterday and I was like, I don't even know if it's encouraging or disheartening that everybody around me feels like they're in the same sort of space of just pushing and surviving. And we're clamoring to get to the thriving part. I repeat, hustling for daily bread. Not millionaire status, so daily bread. It just feels like, you're working and everything is now a strategy. And I know I'm not the only person that feels this. And this is why I wanted to particularly touch on this macro level disappointment, right? The other day I even called my friend and I was like, girl, I feel like I have been strategizing. Are you tired of strategizing? Because I am tired of strategizing. I've strategized enough, I beg. I beg. I'm so tired. Like, I have strategized enough. Like, everything is a strategy. Everything is a how can I make money? Everything is okay, I'm gonna do 9 to 5. Then it doesn't work. Podcast. Okay, podcast is taking too long to make money. Okay, I'm gonna sell plates on the side. And if it doesn't work, I'll also babysit my neighbor's kids. And the sad part is like in this very moment with how tough things have gotten and the rapid amounts of like layoffs, quitting, people just feeling restless and tired. It's like this is when we really should be coming together, but unfortunately we can't because again, we are literally hustling for daily bread. And we're being forced to be very individualistic because we're trying to survive. Whew, it is that part for me is just a very like I'm sitting in that wow. So this is really the world and the life that it reached my turn to be an adult and this is what you people gave me. That's really how I'm feeling. Like it's my turn to be an adult and this is what you people said I should navigate. Okay. No problem. No problem. I'll do my best. But I'm disappointed, you know? And I think as I think about all this, the one thing that keeps ringing in my head now is I finally understand what older millennials were saying. Like I finally understand how they felt in 2020, in 2008, you know, pandemic. And the fact that they kept saying like older millennials have lived through so much unprecedented stuff that is now the precedence. And they've had to navigate so much in their adulthood. And I think going through the past year and a half with just all that's been happening on a micro level and on a collective, like global level, I'm just finally understanding. I knew it on a knowledge level, but to know something and to go through something, two different things. So now I know it in my bones that disappointment really is just inevitable. It's going to be a part of my adulthood from here on out. This will happen again. I will be disappointed again, and I will have to figure out the path forward. I'll have to navigate these feelings again and again and again. And I don't really know what to do with that, but that's just an understanding that I finally have made and I've come to realize. I'm still working my way through that. I don't know what to do with that yet. I don't know what to do with that. I just know that I finally know it on a deeper level what it means to be disappointed consistently, and I understand that that will be part of adulthood, you know? And I mentioned this as well in our 9 lessons for 29, but again, I am repeatedly trying to go through emotions without them altering who I am as a person, as a woman, as in the ways that I show up. So I am doing my best to navigate feelings of disappointment without feeling jaded and without like hyper expectant disappointment. Like without, maybe now it stops me from applying for things because I feel like, oh, well, I might not even get it. So why even try? Because in as much as there have been these disappointing moments, there have also been very beautiful moments. Like we were just featured in a Toronto Guardian article by a writer that I met going to an event that I honestly wasn't even in the right mental space attending the event. Like I was surprised even meeting her and how that happened. So that in its own, and Tosin, thank you so much for featuring us. You don't know what that has done for me in this time. It's brought me such encouragement and just peace, and I feel so supported by my community. So, in as much as yes, I've been disappointed, especially navigating certain situations in the creative industry, I have also been uplifted and I've been supported, and my friends are showing up for me. So, I am really trying my best to keep a balanced view of life and to know that life is just a series of ups and downs. Disappointment will come, sweetness will come, disappointment will come again, sweetness will not enter, something else will not throw you off, more sweetness will not, okay, like, and it's just, you have to now just be balancing and balancing as you go. So I am just really putting that into perspective and just really, really, really reflecting on that. And the final thing, and this is sort of a big one, I don't have answers, but I feel like as I continue to think about this, something will come up as an answer for me, maybe through, but what do I know? Like through this creative platform, through other aspects of my life. But I don't want to say that disappointment is necessary, right? Because that sounds insane. It sounds crazy to say, like disappointment is necessary, but it is inevitable. So if we know that we will be disappointed at some point in our adulthood, at some point in life, how do we cushion it so that it doesn't alter our being? so that it doesn't feel like a complete shock to our bodies and our systems. And that's something that I'm really trying to figure out for me. Like, okay, losing your job last year, big ass disappointment. You got another job. How are you? What's the cushion there so that if that happens again, it is not that disappointing to you? Okay. You've gone through different friendship situations. You've gone through different creative relationship situations. What is the cushion to each of these sections of your life so that if you're disappointed again, it doesn't completely alter your path, it doesn't alter your being, it doesn't alter your mental health greatly? That's a big part of what I'm thinking about, you know? So I'm still working my way through it. And I think even related to the work aspect of it, one thing that has really helped is my identity was never really in my 9 to 5 work. Like, I love what I do. I love the fact that I am able to contribute to the development of cities, of buildings, development, and all these cool projects. But that was not something that I just saw my entire identity in, right? And I think I even have to think about that in relation to the podcast because I do see a lot of my identity in the podcast. And so I have to do some work on that because God forbid this podcast doesn't end up being what I want it to be. I don't want that to be another earth shattering disappointment for me. So I actually do need to do some work in that aspect, right? But yeah, I think finding multiple sources of income, yes, but also multiple sources of identity, of meaning, of happiness. I'm really working on that right now. Of course, my community, my people, my friends, like they've honestly been so supportive. It's been so, so, so important for me in this time. And just other things like finding hobbies, even sitting down and just saying, okay, I was disappointed in this way. How else can I define and refine the life that I want to live here on out? Like, what does it consist of? What do I want? I was disappointed in this way. Is that the path I want to go down? How can I try something else? What else can I do? Who else can I be? Right? Those are some of the questions that I'm asking myself in this time. And I feel like if you listened up until this point, you probably, maybe you have some answers. I hope you do. And you might have more questions than answers. And that's perfectly fine too, because in this time, I have more questions than answers. But it's good because it means that we're thinking and we're working through things and we're reflecting on what life is right now. And that I think is honestly where a lot of really good, really critical life answers come from. So, as much as I am really sad, I am also I'm also hopeful, you know, I'm also hopeful. I think the last thing I'm trying to tap into is faith that allows you to tap into what you cannot see, right? I think at the very basic level, that is what faith is believing in things that you can't see. And even in our previous episode, as much as we, offered some sound critique of religion, I talked about having a pluralist view of faith. And I'm very much there right now. I've always been grateful. I continue to be grateful to God. Some days I'm angry at God and I'm not afraid. I'm not one of those people that's very passive in my faith. I will say, listen, God, like this ain't what I want right now. And I'm allowing myself to have those conversations like, God, like, is this the plan? You said the plans you have for me were of good and not evil. This, I don't know. This is not aligning with that. Like, well, go on. Can we speed it up to the good part? Like, I am allowing myself to have those conversations with God. And I'm not afraid. I don't care. I'm not afraid. And while I have those conversations, my girlies that are into the astrology, they're also telling me, oh, Chid, right now you're actually in your Saturn return. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, tell me more. Because I want to know, I'm 29. If my Saturn return is between 28 to 32, girl, is Saturn going to return one more time next year? Because I need to be prepped. Like, I need to be prepped. And for the girls who want to, read palm, tell me my destiny, tell me what, I'm open. Because at this point, I think I'm curious and I'm just, I'm open. And I think that right now in my life, things are shifting for better. Things are shifting for better situations, for more refined things. And I'm hopeful. I'm not the most patient person, so I'm trying my best to sit in this and not force my way through it, but to flow through it. And so that being said, I am hopeful and I'm grateful. I'm still disappointed, but I know that I will get through this and this too shall pass. So I really hope that, this conversation helped you, especially if you feel like life right now is just feeling like one hurdle after a barrier, after another hurdle. If you enjoyed this conversation, please go ahead and share it with another homegirl, just really needs some uplifting, some encouragement right now, who you feel like will really enjoy this conversation. Share it in the group chat, talk about it, and then come on socials on Instagram or TikTok at BWDIK Podcast and let us know what you think of this conversation. Please, I really want to know. If you're shy or you don't have socials, you can email us. It's connect@bwdikpodcast.com. Make sure that you are watching on YouTube, okay? Watch us on YouTube. We are heavy on YouTube this year. Subscribe, like, view. We're doing our best to see if it can be monetized by February 2027 with the new rules apply. And if you are listening on audio, make sure that you are leaving us a comment on Spotify, that you've rated, you've reviewed on Apple or Spotify, and that you are sharing this with your people so that we can continue to grow. Thank you so much for listening and for the continued support. Honestly, I really feel like, with all being said, I'm just so proud of what we've built and what, we're continuing to build. So thank you so much for listening and for watching. Take really good care of yourself. Be well. And for my Toronto girlies, go outside, shake some yash, and enjoy the last little bit of summer and warmth before we start to feel some cold breeze. All right? Y'all will hear from me real soon. Bye for now.